From Shakur Stevenson backing Haney to smoke his opponent, to Tim Bradley claiming that Lomachenko will expose Devin, here are expert predictions for the Devin Haney-Vasyl Lomachenko fight. Let's start with the biggest star in the lightweight division, Shakur Stevenson. Few fighters have more interest in this upcoming fight than the former world champion. With the lightweight division on fire right now, it's not a surprise that Stevenson hasn't committed to his next opponent. He wants to see who has earned the chance to fight him instead. We've got a major fight in Haney and Lomachenko loading, and we've also just had Gervonta Davis dismantle Ryan Garcia. So it's not a surprise that even without the belts, Stevenson's a big catch for either Gervonta or Devin. However, for Devin to put his name in the ballot, he'll need to run through Lomachenko, but as far as Shakur is concerned, it's only going to be one-way traffic. His exact words were, "I think Haney smokes him."
I think it's going to be easy. I think I'm going to smoke him. I think I'm going to shock everybody by smoking and making it a real easy fight. Everybody going to be like, damn, you is who you say you is.
Like most analysts, Fearless is backing Haney's size to get him the win because he's too big. He even pointed out how his American counterpart shouldn't be worrying about the Ukrainian playing dirty. He said that when you have the size advantage, being dirty doesn't matter.
I know he's training for a dirty fight, a scrappy fight. You know, he wants to, get in and get as dirty as possible on the clinch. That's what I've heard that he's training for. So we're just preparing for whatever he brings to the table. But we know the type of fight that he wants.
You should use the size and be dirty to him. This might end up being valuable advice for someone like Haney. He should use his body weight, tire Loma out, and get that big win. Legendary boxing trainer Teddy Atlas agrees with Shakur's analysis. The Atlas also has concerns regarding Lomachenko due to the physical advantage that Haney possesses. Atlas also said that the Dream believes him himself. He's got better plans to fall back late in the fight. He added that it will be a tough fight for both guys and will be tougher for Loma due to a number of reasons. But Alexander Povetkin's former trainer also explained that Loma's got other worries too. Atlas was talking about how the Matrix is on the clock when it comes to his career. At 35 years of age, he can't wait any longer to take on the biggest name in the divisions. He needs to fight the top guys, and Haney is just about as big a name as it gets in the lightweight division. But it seems that despite some big names backing the Dream, someone with experience in defeating Loma is putting his money on the Ukrainian. I'm obviously talking about Teofimo Lopez. But before I talk about his prediction, let's just remind ourselves of how good that Lopez-Loma fight was back during COVID. It was one of the best performances anyone's ever seen from Teofimo. However, since that win, Lopez's place as the best lightweight in the world went to George Kambosos, who was shockingly beaten by Haney in both contests. Despite this unfortunate turn of events for Teofimo, he has no doubts about who will win the Loma-Haney bout. The Takeover, El Brooklyn, is extremely confident in Loma's abilities and said that nobody beats Lomachenko, nobody. He analyzed the fight by giving an insight into his own experience with the Matrix and said that he's too smart and has so many different tactics. There was a backhanded compliment in there as well, as he added that Loma has dirty tactics and clean tactics, but overall his experience is too much. He believes that the Ukrainians' opponents aren't ready for that. He also thinks that Haney, on the other hand, does not have that dog in him, and that'll be his undoing. How about a prediction from someone who has fought not just one Devin Vasyl, but both? I'm talking about the one and only Jorge Linares. Unfortunately for the three-weight world champion, he was on the losing end of both those fights. Haney defeated him via unanimous decision, while Loma stopped him in 10 rounds a couple of years before the Devin fight. His experience makes him the most well-placed in the sport to predict this upcoming blockbuster bout. Ultimately, he backs the American to keep a hold of his 4 belts, but believes that it'll be a win by decision. Based on some of the predictions we've seen so far, this is probably the most level-headed call too. You see, Lopez has beef with Devin, Shakur wants to take on Haney, and Teddy's prediction was similar to what we got from Linares. This will definitely be a close fight, but like both of them predicted, Haney has the edge and is being backed to hold on to his WBC, IBF, WBO, and WBA lightweight world titles. But back to slightly biased predictions, Bernard Hopkins has been dissing Haney for quite some time now. The boxing legend simply isn't convinced by what Haney has to offer. He's always refused to give him the tag of top dog in the division, and has often talked about how Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia, and Shakur Stevenson are better. He recently slammed the Dream and said that you can have the belts, but that doesn't mean they all fit your pants. Now that he's criticized him ahead of the upcoming fight, it's easy to guess who he's backing to go all the way. However, someone who hasn't taken kindly to this criticism is Haney. Not Devin, but Bill Haney. Yeah, Devin's father, Bill, had a lot to say about Hopkins' criticism of his son, and he was furious. Bill called out Bernard and said that when his son was 23, he was a world champion, while Bernard was in jail for being a cat burglar. Cold. He also added that Hopkins had a lost touch with reality. And the fact that Devin doesn't drink, smoke, and eats right while making weight consistently is something that doesn't sit right with a hater like Hopkins. He went a step further and claimed that his son will make more money from his upcoming fight against Loma than Hopkins made during his entire career. While I don't think that's true, because Bernard has a net worth of around $40 million, it's still good to see the raging build-up to this blockbuster event. As much as Bill wants his son to win, though, it's not going to be a one-sided event as far as Albert Selimov is concerned. The Azerbaijani remains the only boxer to defeat Lomachenko in amateur boxing, which was an insane thing to do, because Loma's record as an amateur boxer remains one of the greatest the world has ever seen. But despite that win all those years ago, Selimov is predicting his former rival will take Haney apart and keep all the titles for himself. He's even suggested that retirement would be in the offing for the Ukrainian, but if he gets a fight against Shakur, he'll return and defeat Stevenson before calling it a day. This is way too close to call, isn't it? Even fans are confused. The majority of fans still back Haney to get the job done and believe that he has just about enough in his arsenal to get one over the 35-year-old. However, others aren't that confident. There's a huge faction of boxing fans who think that Haney's record isn't as good as it looks, and he's only racked up those wins by fighting names that weren't good enough. This will be his first big test, and they don't have much faith in him to come through. One Reddit user is extremely excited about the fight, saying that this is the toughest fight for both fighters. Another user thinks that Lomachenko struggles when under pressure, but because Haney doesn't apply pressure through his punches and struggled against a southpaw in Jojo Diaz, he's backing the Ukrainian to edge it. So is Tim Bradley. The former world champion dominated 2 weight classes during his career. He's definitely one of the best fighters of recent times, and the 39-year-old has seen enough of Loma to back him for a win over Haney. Talking to Max Kellerman, Bradley believes that the Matrix is being underestimated, and every time he has a subpar performance, he returns with a vengeance. Even though Loma won against Jermaine Ortiz recently, the general view was that he struggled a lot. This is a bad omen for Haney as far as Bradley is concerned, and he believes Haney will get exposed late in the fight, especially because of his shortcomings on the inside. That's definitely true. Devin's great from mid-range to outside, but he does struggle a little bit on the inside. And with Loma's ability to break tie-ups, Bradley's going for the Ukrainian to win it. So from Tim Bradley's prediction of Lomachenko exposing his opponent, to Shakur Stevenson backing Haney to smoke Loma, these were the expert predictions for Devin Haney versus Vasyl Lomachenko.